Hello from me, Lazarus. We continue with the next lesson. From the course by HTML. And we can open the book, and here in the HTML part, we choose the first lesson. A brief history of HTML, CSS, and XHTML. I opened it here. What is HTML? HTML stands for Hypertext Markup Language, from English language, which means hypertext markup language, which is the primary language for creating web pages. The first public domain of HTML is a document called HTML tags at the end of 1991, in which they are described 18 items, including basic and simplified HTML construction. HTML in its very beginning was created as a language of exchange of scientific and technical, human-friendly documentation, who work with entirely in scientific circles, and not only for specialists in the field of design. HTML is a language from the SGML group, Standard Generalized Markup Language. Languages working with a small set of structural semantic elements. Descriptors, also called tags. It was originally intended only as structuring and formatting tool of documents, but then it was introduced and hypertext support, and later are added the important multimedia capabilities. In the following years, create new versions in which they are added many new additional items, and some of the previous elements are dropped. There is no official HTML1 specification, and until 1995, there have been many unofficial versions. In 1995, the first specification was created, HTML 2.0, which is considered basic, and future ones specifications will upgrade it. Since 1997, the specifications have been maintained from the World Wide Web Consortium, the main organization of standardization establishing international standards for WWW, or W3 for short. The organization was founded as a consortium to promote of compatibility of these technologies with HTML, XHTML, XML, and other similar technologies. In January 1997, comes out version 3.2, and in December 1997, version 4.0, which for the first time defines three options: strict, dropped items are prohibited; intermediate option, in which dropped items are allowed; and the frame set, in which they are resolved. The frame elements. In December 1999, version 4.1 was released, and so until 2004, when the split occurred. We will talk about him in a moment. In early versions of HTML, shaping the view, text, and all parts were performed in-house web page, but the W3C consortium believes that this should not be so, and that it should split the page content from its layout. That's actually why CSS was created. Cascading set of styles, which represents a mechanism by which the view is determined and the layout of the text and other parts from the web page. and the consortium is gradually enforcing the use of CSS in HTML pages, since 1997. This leads to the separation of the content and structure of web pages from their visual representation. There are 3 versions of CSS so far, plus one more that is not supported by browsers, and currently working on the 4th. But we will talk about CSS in the next course. Besides HTML, in creation, on internet pages, the XHTML language is also used, or XML. These are also languages from the HTML-based family. Practically it is similar to HTML but is more strict. The main differences are that, but we won't delve into that. Now we will talk about something very interesting: the division. In 2004, by secret ballot, the W3C consortium takes one very unfortunate decision, to continue develop the strict XHTML standard and to create a new version 2.0, whatever, laid on an entirely new foundation, but no backwards compatibility. The representatives of the main presenters, browsers at this time, Mozilla, Opera, Apple, are firmly against it and do not agree. They vote against it because they think it is some abstraction and it will take away the standards of the actual requirements for web technology development. As a result, they create their own organization with these initials: WHATWG, Web Hypertext Application Technology Working Group. This is loosely informal, open cooperation of browser manufacturers and to other interested parties. This organization starts working for the development of specific HTML-based related technologies, and to form new ones. Standards in the work process. The organization uses another approach which, practiced in browsers, lacks sparing algorithms covering a larger sum of the inaccuracies in the code. It is important to note that web browsers are made efficient and practical, so they support all versions of HTML and display the web pages, even when in their code there are errors and inaccuracies. Against the standards, several developed within this organization. Specifications unified in the project. Web Application 1.0. The first draft of this project is released 2006 and includes interesting HTML extensions like ability to draw, react to, server events, separate support for audio and video content, and much more. At the same time, the development of the W3C consortium Project 2.0 has reached a dead end. And after 2.5 years, they admit their mistake, close this project, and begin to work together with the other organization to build a new standard. And so on the HTML standard. Both groups continue to work, as things are first developed in this group of browsers, and then they are confirmed in the W3C specifications. But WHATWG has to own specification, and not everything is entirely equal between them, and so far, 2024, we have no unification between these groups. And we can say we don't have 100% a single standard for HTML. The W3C officially standardized HTML5 in 2014, and in the following years releases versions 5.1, 5.2, 5.3, you can see on this link. And the other group WHATWG is giving up numbers of versions and just write HTML as adopt a constantly evolving approach and an evolving standard. HTML5 Living Standard. Here is a link to her site. and in the new HTML5 Living Standard. Several principles are leading. Backward compatibility with old versions. Of pragmatism. That is, the most common solution of a problem is included in the specification, not found again. Hot water and don't reinvent the wheel. If something works, it is not touched and so on. And finally, it is important to